Okay,
Hey,
see me
everybody.
back.
Says we're live.
Hey, can you see
You're
me?
you're not on yet. I don't even know if I can.
Oh,
I don't know if they hear you. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is John. This is my channel, The Origin Factory. We're trying a little live stream here today with Rob from Xtreme Toyz down in the great state of Texas. There's Rob. How is it looking on your end,
hello.
Rob?
Pretty good. Okay,
What
wait a
about on your
minute. Hold
laptop?
on,
Is it
I'm muting you. There we go. All right. It
is
looks
it sh-
pretty good. Oh, okay, so I can see. Okay, so on the actual YouTube. Okay, so it is lagging on the YouTube.
Well, yeah, it'll be a few seconds behind. Just to let everybody, well, we got one, well, that's one viewer's probably you. So, anyways, anybody who's tuning in, if you're watching this, we're trying to work some bugs out so we can do a live stream and get proficient at it. Rob is going to be involved with this. And right now we're just checking the bugs, but we do have content. So, if you sit with us for a few seconds while we make sure that we got everything running as it needs to be. Um, so now if I do, let's show my screen sharing. Now, do you see my YouTube channel on the screen on your laptop?
No, I see a split screen with you on my left and me on the right, but it's a different camera view than my phone sees.
Oh, it's not.
Okay, now boom, there it goes.
Oh, it was just
It may be
lagging.
the lag. It's
Okay,
just
so
the
it is
lag.
showing. It is showing my YouTube channel. Okay, good, 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 good. So I need that's working. Okay, so one last check is mute your phone, and then turn your computer volume on, and just listen to the audio level of my mic since I'm not hearing a monitor. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm gonna mute my phone.
Yep. And your phone fell over, Rob. But you're going to hear a lag from me because you're going to be hearing it through your laptop now. So tell me how the audio levels are, and then we'll get to our program here in a second. Just make sure that everything sounds kind of normal and all that good stuff. Rob, can you hear me? Rob, you can? You have to.
Yeah, but my laptop speakers suck. So
Okay. Well, as long as they know the audio is going through, that's all I care right now. We'll worry about it.
yeah.
Anyways, let's get back to what we were going to talk about.
Okay.
So me and Rob are going to talk about some RC stuff. We talk quite frequently about RC stuff, and we thought it might be of interest to actually do a live stream about it. And some of the things we were going to talk about today was some of the current products being released. And one thing that came out today that wasn't expecting is Low C has came out with a 2.0 version to the Gravedigger. And so um what they what's different about it, Rob, I forgot, have you seen it yet? Or
No, I saw the one of the postings on Facebook.
okay,
It
gotcha.
just said they're releasing a 2.0.
Gotcha. So I watched one review already this morning, and from, was it RC Driver Online or whatever, that dude? um and it looks like they're using the extended wheelbase like they did for the mud the mud hog and the whatever,
King
the,
Fling,
yeah, King Fling and all that stuff. So they're
whatever.
going
Yeah.
with the 15, I think it was a 15-inch wheelbase, and I think the original wheelbase was 13 and a half or something like that. But anyways, they've upgraded the electronics, they extended the wheelbase, they've changed the way they mount the body. They're using the same two liveries, which I was kind of hoping they would do something a little bit more fresh, but whatever. It looks like they're getting better tires with it. And kind of like with the Pro Moto, it has some electronic enhancements to it to allow you to do wheelies on command and to do bicycle, meaning ride on two tires on, on the side versus a
On
wheelie.
like the right or
Yes.
left side? Is that what you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, it's not automatic. You have to kind of know how to manipulate it enough to make it happen. I guess it's spelled out in the instructions pretty well, but yeah. So it's to help you enable that. So it's all done through the receiver. So I'm guessing it's a receiver like you would use on a what do you call it? The what's the cars? Oh, the RC
The
cars,
like the
drift
infraction
car, drift
uses for
cars,
that.
like the drift cars use.
Yeah.
So you can enable it to be more forgiving but anyways, so it looks like the retail on it is $749, which I think is about what it was before. They
Was
are
it that much? Wow.
yeah. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think we got so used to paying, not buying them new type thing, you know what I mean? We were always buying stuff,
Hmm.
after it was released. And they do still have the LMT TLR on their website, and that's still at $599, so that's still available. So, what do you think about it, Rob? I'm a little disappointed they didn't come out with a new livery, but besides that, what do you think?
Well, I mean, personally, I really like the LMT platform. I've never. It's one of the few monster truck platforms that I've ever bought that I didn't feel the need to run out and buy a bunch of upgrades. Like it really
Oh,
out of the box
definitely.
is a lot of fun. A lot of
Yes,
fun.
definitely.
Very
Definitely.
durable.
Yes,
Very,
yes.
very durable.
That was also mentioned. It sounded like they did some enhancements to the internal structure of the axles, maybe some extra reinforcement. It did go to double shocks per axle, and it did go to internal springs. And
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Okay.
so the springs are internal now. Only out of the two shocks per side, one shock is sprung, one isn't. So one's just for dampening. And it does have some plastic reservoirs attached to it and stuff like that to kind of give it that look of a scale look, But
Yeah.
anyways, so that was, yeah, I mean, it's good to see that. I'm happy that that product still exists because that's pretty much the go-to for a monster truck out of the box. But anyways,
Nothing beats Baby Digger. I love
is that
Baby
the
Digger.
Losi one? That's the Losi one.
Yes. It is.
I've
I.
haven't got
Oh my
one yet.
God. Oh,
Do you
John.
have the do you have
I.
the well, do you have the newer one with the bigger connecting rods, or do you have the older one? The Lynx.
Um.
Or I guess the new Lynx came out with the Megalodon, I guess.
Yeah. No. This has got. This is one of the first ones, and I
Okay.
actually. I ran out. It's one of the few times that I actually ran out and saw it in a hobby store, and I had to have it. And then to top it off, you know, I had to do. Oh, that's not helping the light. I did a Traxxas
Sure.
C10 on my son of a digger.
Yep.
So I'm not as big of a monster truck guy as you. Like you go all out with the scale on those, but I love Baby Digger. And if these guys have seen me on my YouTube, they know that I had a primal digger.
Right.
And I tell everybody, everybody asked me, hey, was that primal the greatest thing? And I was like, well, honestly, it was a lot of fun. But when
Uh-huh.
it came down to it, I sold my LMT, my full size one, to buy the primal, and I regretted it.
Sure.
I loved my LMT. My only complaint with the old LMT were the tires. They were too aggressive. It needed
It
less
looks
tread.
yeah, it looks like they even upgraded the tires on the LMT also this go around. They don't have that big aggressive cleats or whatever you want to call it.
The
It
big
looks
tractor.
Yeah, it looks like it might be a softer tire also. But
Is it more like
anyways,
the BKT, like the racing tire, where it's got the
yes,
real,
yes,
real
it looks
small?
cut down. Yeah, it looks like a cut
I
down race
love that.
tire.
Yeah.
Um, one thing else where's the other stuff I want to talk about? Yeah, Bamboo Labs. I don't know how new this
Whoa.
is, but I'm putting it up on the screen, Rob. Yeah, so Bamboo Labs have came out with a new version of their 3D printer that's a new premium model, and it now has laser cutting. Um, oh my God, it's just you can do plotting work with it. You can cut decals, you can cut wood, you can laser. Plus, they've upgraded the 3D printing on it also. Um, it's
Okay,
Matt
this
from
I get to hit you here. Hold on, hold on.
Matt from.
How long have I been trying to get you to buy a 3D printer?
Well, this might be the one that gets me to do it because you can cut mask with it now. Masking,
Yes.
you can do decals. So you could, if you had a Cricut and you had an old 3D printer and you're willing to upgrade and you wanted to get rid of both, you could get rid of both of them now. Granted,
I,
the entry level price is like $1,900 just for the 3D printer. But when you add, oh God, when you add the laser and everything else, it's pushing $3,000 with the
well, I
laser.
can tell you, I have an X1C, and it's game changing. I was on the phone with you yesterday, and
Yeah.
remember I was hunting around and hunting around. I spent 30 minutes looking for a part. I went in and I was like, wait a minute, I got a printer. I went in, I hit Thingiverse, I searched it, I started it. 12 minutes later, that's including the searching, the loading, the printing, pull it off the deck. It took 12 minutes to create the part that I spent a half hour looking for.
Right.
It's an amazing tool. Yeah, you can use them to make money, but for a hobbyist, it's an
Yeah,
amazing tool. And
that's what Matt was
oh,
talking about today. You know, it's got a bigger plate now, so you can do much
much
larger
bigger.
pieces. I guess it's he was really excited about it. It sounded like it could do a lot more. And like he mentioned too, he says, yeah, he's not real big on the 2-in-1, 3-in-1, all these things under one roof type machine, but it seems to be well sorted on this. And of course, if you're trying to do production stuff, the 2-in-1 type deal really isn't the way to do it. But for a hobbyist, it's really ideal. So you can buy one machine and have it all taken care of. Yeah, this one has got me interested. Whereas, because I was bouncing back and forth between wanting a Cricut too for masking for doing paint jobs and stuff like that. But this kind of scratches all the itches now, except, I mean, I'm not saying it's not price fair, but man, it's a big chunk of change to get into this guy now. Um, but the one thing I get confidence from, it's Bamboo and it's tested and it's not a lesser brand. So I kind of feel like it's going to be sorted out. And if it isn't, they're going to fix it, you know?
Well, you buy a lot of Knights custom 3D printed scale detail parts, right, for your
I
origins.
don't know whose designs they are when I've purchased them.
Well, what I was going to say was, I don't know if you know this, but Knights Customs, he actually prototypes and tests, I think, a huge portion of his stuff on the X1C. Like he
Oh, sure.
uses bamboo. So I
Right.
mean that says, if you've got a creator that creates as much as he does,
Right.
and that's the platform that he chooses, that says a lot.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, but I also, like I said too, it kind of gives me the confidence in Bamboo because they seem to be a brand that's really sticks a lot of time and energy into their software and their product, and it seems like they listen to customers and stuff. So it sounds like it's not a gamble to deal with them, is what it sounds like to me. Of course, you use Bamboo
No.
right now. I've never bought anything from them as of yet, but
Well, and I can also on the warranty side, they don't mess around. You call them, you tell them the problem, and you explain it to them, and they send you an RA. And like I took my printer right back to Micro Center where I bought it, and I had an RA. I walked in, walked out less than 10 minutes with a whole new printer. And the guy at Micro Center even said the same thing. He goes, "Man, I'm sorry this took so long. We don't do this very often with bamboo, so we had to learn the process." So that tells you if they're not used to taking them back, that's a good sign. And
right,
and
right,
I had a freak accident with mine, so this is a
right,
freak deal.
right.
So
Yeah, we have a micro center here also, and that's I've been doing more and more business with them versus doing stuff online, and they seem to be really competitive with their pricing, you know. And then to have the backup right at a brick and mortar store, is always nice. And they're
Yeah.
open 7 days
I,
a week.
and honestly, it's one of the few places that I go. I'm not a techie. Like I'm not deep into the tech stuff,
Right,
and they don't make me feel like an idiot. You know,
right, right,
some of the places will make you feel like they're
right,
speaking alien to you
right, right,
sometimes.
right. Um, so yeah, the new Bamboo Lab H2D. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I'm trying to sell some high ticket items right now, so maybe I'll use that to finance and get my first 3D printer. But um, here's one thing I've been scratching my head about it. I'll get it up on the screen so you get a chance to see what I'm talking about.
Hey, I'm working on to anybody on my eBay. I'm working on your labels right now.
So look at your laptop now.
Let me see
Uh,
here. I'm on the.
is it up there yet?
Oh,
Look at that name, how long it is. That's a mouthful. RC10 American Custom Semi Truck 6x6. Oh, God. Who asked
I
for
don't know.
that? You know what I mean? It's like there's an itch that nobody was asking for to get scratched. You know what I mean? It's just,
Well, we talked about this before. Thunder Tiger owned and now
right.
owns Team Associated, and it kind of shows. It's sad. I mean, I've been
Well,
in the hobby forever, and
and
it just
and you
I
look
don't
at
understand it.
and you look at Team Associated's website, their I don't know if they call it their Legend series or what are they calling that page or their they just call it the RC10 page. But you look at it and everything is a reincarnation of the RC10 in some other form with the exception of the
Gold.
Yokomo. Yeah, well, I mean, now they got a green pan and
Why green? I don't understand why green.
well, yeah, there's one that was I don't know if there's a story behind that one, but I never heard it if there is. So now this one I never warned you about. So this will be something I know you'll take an interest in. So in the Battle of the Riris, who did it
Is
better?
that what we're calling it now? The Battle of the Riris?
Yeah, but look which brand I brought up.
The four-wheel drive?
Well,
Oh, it hasn't.
Kyosho.
Oh, sorry. We got a little lag here. Give it a second.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Boom. Yes. Oh my God.
Now look at the company that's doing it right. You know what I mean?
And
I get
I
excited
was
every
not.
time I get excited every time one of theirs comes out because it's like, oh, that's cool. Because they do try to keep it pretty true to form from the original. And like, I don't know what the hell Team Associate is doing, but I don't
Well,
know.
okay. So hold on. Kyosho, yes, they're keeping it closer to original, but they even did something that I like, and you cannot take, from what I understand, I haven't proven it yet, but I have an original Phantom 4 four-wheel drive 12 scale pan car, new in the box. And
Yep.
as I understand it, you cannot swap parts from any of the Riris onto that chassis. That there are differences, and that was my big complaint with all the Riri stuff.
Well, and
Is that
unlike the Team Associate, also their Riris, all the Phantoms, they all have upgrades between them. They're not just color changes.
yes,
And that's the reason why there's more than one color scheme, at least with Kyosho, is because they've incorporated the updates with each one as they've improved over the generations of them.
hmm
And like
well, and
Team Associate is trying to do something kind of true to the people that raced them, but it's like you missed this, you forgot this, that's the wrong color. It's like
Well, and you know, as a kid, you grow up, and whatever you get into as a kid, you typically carry through. And for me, it was associated in Tamaya. We'll have that discussion in a minute.
Uh-huh.
Um, I wasn't a big Kyosho guy back in the day,
I
and
wasn't
I
either.
will be honest. Yeah, it's only been in the last 5, 10 years that I had a Phantom, an original Phantom back in the '80s that I got from a guy that's like, I don't want this. It's too low to the ground. I can't run it.
Uh-huh.
And I thought it was neat, and I held on to it. But I have become an admirer of
Yes,
Kyosho
me too.
more so now
I admire them
because
much more now
I
than I
think they're
did.
handling it properly.
Yes, I agree. And that's kind of where actually I'm coming from a similar point with that because, my first RC was a gold pan RC10 built, I bought it in probably around 87 or 88 or whatever it was. And I was going between that and the Ultima.
Okay.
And I was struggling to pick between them. They were similarly priced and they were basically kind of the competition for each other. And I think it was the guy at the hobby store that kind of convinced me. I was more excited about it being American made and that kind of stuff at that time. And I ended up going with the Team Associated. And now oh my God, we're talking 40 years later. Now I'm disenchanted with Team Associated because of the changes or the turns they've taken since new ownership. Eh, and then I get excited about Kyosho, even though I wasn't big with them on the day. When I see them recreating this stuff, it's like, oh, this is so cool. And I look at the stuff Team Associated is doing. It's like, oh God, they're just trying to cash in or something. It just doesn't feel as true to the sport. It feels more like a money grab versus Kyosho, maybe. I don't know.
Well, and a lot of guys have said that. I mean, that is a pretty common statement is that, you know, the 40th anniversary made sense. Um, a couple of them make sense, but the green one, I heard that as soon as the green one came out. Oh, this is a money grab. This is just, this is Thunder Tiger showing that they own it and they're just gonna grab, and then I
Yeah.
thought the clear one was neat. I
The
My
only
problem is a
the only
lot of
reason the
these.
only reason I bought the clear one was because it came out before everything else, and I thought this was going to be my only shot, and they were going to try to keep the values up on the originals. And then when they started whoring, I'm like, gone. Put it up on marketplace. Local guy bought it, met him at a
Yeah,
gas station. Bye. There you go.
yeah. Well, and I mean, I hate it. I do because I have some very rare, very odd
Right.
RC10s,
Right.
and I really like them, but they're killing the value for collectors
Uh
because
huh.
from guys getting involved, especially with the Vanquish brand, and now getting in with the Origin and with the Ripper and now the Ripper 2 optic Origin, whatever they're calling it. Guys, you know, guys get into the Origin brand, and like you and I've talked about in the past, that now they're looking back and they're like, oh, I got to get an original Origin, or I can't buy a Ripper because I don't want to spend $8,000-10,000 for a Ripper, but I can build me an Origin for say 1,500 to 3 grand, depending on the
Right.
level you want to take it to,
Right.
and that revitalized Vanquish. That got people
Right. Well, and that's
going.
right, and that's yeah. And Vanquish,
But you,
Vanquish started out making accessories for Losi and Axial and just upgrade. I say just, but making upgrade parts for those brands, and they came out with their own. And
yeah,
so it was a very grassroots start for them. And so the Origin, for example, they won't share how many they made, but obviously it was pretty low numbers. And then as they're becoming more and more popular, it seems like the Phoenix is what really kicked them ahead. That was kind of,
that's a
and
good truck.
yeah, and well, and that was their first one that wasn't a premium kit, so I think it started out at like think originally it was like 4.99 or something like that, and then within a short time, or 4.50, and then it got down to like 3.99 or something like that. The price kind of settled in. It's like, man, this is really a lot of truck for the buck. And then I think that's when they really started to take off, was with the Phoenix, because that was when I got to know them most of all. Because my buddy Mike that got me into crawling more, he's saying Vanquish all the time, and it's like, and you hear the name Vanquish, it doesn't ring with RC in my head, you know. But then I was new to crawling, but anyways, so we kept hearing Vanquish, 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 and then all that machismo guy stuff. Not to look dumb, it's like I don't know what Vanquish is, you know. But now
Yeah,
as they're
but
growing,
the nice
go ahead.
I was gonna say, but the nice thing about that was, and where I was kind of going was, they managed to revitalize the collecting side of Vanquish, and get people interested in collecting. But the problem is with Associated, they're destroying the collecting market. It just, I mean, there are guys out there, purists out there that would,
Yes.
obviously want original parts, but I would say the majority of guys that want to build a gold pan RC10 like they had back in the day are going to be completely okay with re parts. So that takes, I tell everybody, I have an original gold pan from an early Cadillac kit, and that's not going to mean much to many people, but
Right.
that pan would be worth 150 bucks, 200 bucks all day. You couldn't keep it if you priced it like that. Now you might get 40, 50 because they're like, well, why would I buy an original pan
Mm-hmm.
when I can just go buy a part out kit from a Riri because they look the same. There are
Right.
differences, but it's that very minute
Right.
purist that's going to notice the differences. So, I mean, I
Right.
see both sides of it. It's just frustrating.
Yeah, from a collector standpoint, it's frustrating. And I saw some frustration on the Facebook groups with Vanquish as they were growing. You know, you got the old guard there, you know, I'm not mentioning names, but people have been around for a while when Vanquish from the beginning. And some of the old fogies just kind of got disenchanted with the influx of all these new faces and kind of, causing the prices on the collectible stuff to go up. And it's like, and they're finding a negative in that. I'm like, dude, that's solidifying the brand. That's a good thing. You always want new people coming into any hobby to keep it going because there's always turnover. So it's like some people I think they're just kind of bitter because they couldn't buy stuff cheap anymore, like the old stuff, the the stuff was no currently available stuff, but it was like, some of these people just don't see the bigger picture. But anyways, but it sure has caused stuff like, the original Ripper and the original Origin to, I see it every once in a while. I just see this new influx again. You'll see it on the Facebook groups. Okay. Everybody's starting to ask her about the Origin again. It's like, oh, there's a new face.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I,
and look at me. I mean, I buy and resell a lot, and I've had a half dozen probably origins, and that's how you and I met was
right,
via an origin.
right,
And I just now went to go build me an origin. I hunted down and found an origin. I broke down and I had to
right,
have one, and I paid twice basically what previously I had paid for origins. So it's like I can see both sides. It's frustrating that the value's going up, but it's also good. I mean, I like the fact that the value's going up. I like that. That just shows me that the collecting side is starting to see the value in the
right,
parts.
right. Yeah. And I wonder how many people, the newer people to Vanquish, for example, I wonder how many of them actually know about the original Ripper, because it took me a while before I even knew what the Ripper was, because there's so few of them. They don't surface very often. So they're not talked about it commonly, and it's got a little bit of mystique to it. And I'm not saying that in a negative way, but I kind of feel like that's still kind of a little bit of a hidden gem because they don't pop up for sale all the time. And then when they do pop up, Oh my God, the comments from the new people, they just don't
Oh,
understand
I
it. It's
know.
like, why would I this? Why would I
Yeah.
that? And it's like, dude, you just don't get it. You're going to have to get educated and understand what you're looking at first because, and just to get, just to bring people up to date, I suppose currently Rippers, the original Ripper made by Vanquish, fully assembled, not run, fairly good shape. It looks like they're starting out the values, high 6,000s, mid 6,000s or something like that. And since I've been involved, I've seen them priced all the way to 10, 11,000, $12,000. I don't know if those have ever
Hey, if
sold for that much, but
hold on. If anybody has a Ripper under 7K, message me, please.
Rob Rob has
Oh,
passed on a few Rippers, and then he's wondering why he didn't buy them. So he's been a reluctant one to buy one so far, but he'll end up with one. And then if he doesn't buy an H10 Origin this time around, he'll pay twice as much 3 years from now or something. But
yep. Well, it's funny. I actually saw a Ripper in its box in the wild when it was first produced, and I just shook my head. I was like, why? Why? I don't get it.
uh
And
huh,
the guy was actually trying to sell it that day for $1,000. And
uh
I was
huh,
like, dude, you're never gonna get $1,000 for that. There's nothing there for $1,000. Today, I would give him 3, 4 grand. I couldn't run to the bank fast enough.
yeah, yeah.
God.
It's yeah, and that boy, we're just kind of daisy chaining everything together. But yeah, like the H10 Origin, I I got mixed feelings on the future of it because I've been in and out of, like you've been involved with a lot of different things and different hobbies. And like Harleys, once they started making once they started making collector versions, it's like they started not to be as collectible because the production was going up and people are anticipating it being a collectible, and then people are hoarding them, and which is good, would be good for the brand because they're selling lots of product, but the people that are buying them aren't in tune with how much more is being produced versus what it was on the older ones when they didn't expect them to ever be a collectible, like say the original Ripper. My understanding there's like 170-ish or something like that. So, and I've already seen chassis numbers of the H10 Origin. I think Henry Sachs just posted his, and I think it was number 91 or 93 or something like that. So, yeah, it looks like in this first batch that they took orders on is going to hit 100 for sure. Because
Really? Okay.
I still know several guys that haven't even got a shipping notice yet. So I'm guessing they sold close to 100 as of now, just in the first batch, and they haven't opened up sales for the second batch yet. So I don't know.
I'm trying to log into
Where are
the
you at with
chat.
that? You think you're going to buy one or not?
I think I'll probably end up buying one.
I know you
But
will.
shh, don't tell nobody.
I know you will.
I mean,
Bart says, he goes, laugh all out, buying a second H10 Origin when they come out. Yeah. I know a few guys that ordered two immediately. So,
okay, I didn't go anywhere. I just gotta go look at my. I don't know my password, so give me just.
well, we
I'm
don't.
ducking off here for a second.
Oh, gotcha.
No,
No,
you keep going.
no,
I'm
that's
just
fine.
trying to find my password.
That's fine. We'll find somebody else that wants to be on.
Oh man, how dare you? Oh,
Anyways,
damn it!
so get people up to speed if anybody's just tuning in. I'm here with Rob from Xtreme Toyz. He's out of Texas. I believe it's the Dallas area, roughly, Dallas Fort Worth area. He buys and
North of Dallas, yeah.
so yeah, we'll just say Dallas area. He buys and sells collections, RCs, all types of RCs. He's into flying, he's into boats, he's into helicopters, airplanes, everything. So if you have an RC collection, you can find him, and he's active in my group on Facebook. If you looking for something or want to sell off a bunch of stuff, you can
Hey,
find
what
him
about
on
the
there.
fact that?
What? You
Hey,
can also
what
find him
about
in
the
his
fact
own
that?
group, Xtreme Toyz.
Yeah.
And you can find him on his own YouTube. You can find him on eBay. He's everywhere under Xtreme Toys, but not starting with the E, starting with an X. Xtreme Toys with a Z, not an S.
I
So
actually started that Extreme Toys Racing actually started back in the motocross days, back in the early 2000s. And it was because there was a body shop here called Extreme Collision. And I was friends with the owner. And he said I could use Extreme, but I had to spell it differently. And so that's where the X came from. So,
sure.
well,
Bart
here, we'll
Bart
show your YouTube guys.
yeah. Rob flies, Rob swims, Rob rolls on rocks, and then Tamia.
Tamaya.
Anyways, Bart made a comment. The serial numbers are all over the place in regard. He's referring to the H10 Origins. I was going to say the other day, what did we see? We saw number 11. I think chassis number 11 was the lowest one I've seen so far on the
Is
Facebook
that the
groups.
lowest in the wild?
Yes, that's the lowest I've seen.
Okay.
And that I'm not going to mention his name. It's the one that helps out with Vanquish. I think he volunteers or helps him out somehow, but whatever.
Okay.
He had number 11, and then like I said, the other one I saw the other day was 90 something, 91 or 93 or whatever. So yeah, and I still know a few guys that just haven't even got shipping notices yet. So, but it sounds like they said they were going to try to get out the first batch within 3 months from the time they ordered. They took orders, I believe it was January 21st. And now we're, what, 3rd of April? So they got till late April to hit their 3 month mark. And they even said on their live stream that they weren't certain if they would get them all out by the 3 month mark. And that's still 3 weeks away. So, and they said they had a bunch shipping too. So I'm guessing, yeah, they maybe sold over 100 this first batch, which I wasn't
Well,
expecting to do that many this go around. I was just because I was comparing it to the original amount that they sold of 170ish. Bart said his chassis number is 42, mine's
that's
61, so
good.
Bart got a little bit lower one. He didn't get Richard Petty, but he got the number right next to it.
Oh God, NASCAR reference.
But yeah, but real NASCAR, not today's NASCAR.
Okay, okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
When the men
Yeah,
were men, not.
yeah. Petty was a god.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Not to sidetrack it too much. Did you follow it much at all or not? NASCAR.
I got into NASCAR late, right around the Jeff Gordon, right before Dale died.
Oh, so after Petty
I
was after Petty was retired, then probably, or at least Rich
yeah.
Kyle might have been racing, but
So I was interested in. I'm going to throw a name out there, and this is an oldie, and I'll tell you where the reference is. Is what is it? Cale Yarborough?
Cale
Is that how you
Yarborough.
pronounce it?
Yeah, Carolina boy, I
And the only
believe.
reason was because he was on the Dukes of Hazzard a lot, and I
Oh,
loved that show. And so I watched some of the NASCAR in the '80s, and then I got interested in IRL and then motocross, and I drifted off road. So
sure.
I follow the off road stuff very
Anyway, I was just curious if
passionately.
you followed Richard Petty very much because he had a nasty crash where he went down the front straightaway and his car was tumbling in the air like as high as the fence. You've
Yeah,
probably seen the footage at one time, but anyways.
yeah. It I always liked his attitude. I just like the I don't give a damn attitude that he kind of had. It's like I don't
Oh,
know. Just he was very grassroots still. Even
right. Bart made a
I
meth.
don't know. I just like that mentality.
Bart made a reference to 42 Peter Cunningham to a road racer here in Wisconsin, so it's good.
Oh, okay.
Anyways,
I can actually see. I can see the chat log now. Okay, cool.
there you go.
Hi, Bart. Oh,
Um,
hey, I gotta say hi. Wait. I gotta do a shout out. I know. Hey, Scott Taylor. You
Scott.
know you're out there.
Yes. Hi,
I know
Scott.
you're watching. What's up, dude? So
Um,
that's all I needed.
yep.
That's my buddy. I love Scott.
I'm gonna do another screenshot and let me know when you see it.
Okay.
The
Working on packing and shipping today. It's just crazy.
the Gilamon from Axial.
Oh.
Gilamon.
Could they not come up with an easier name to say? It is really a hard name to say.
I would say that everybody's naming lately is a little bit subpar, and I'm not very pleased with the names lately. But that's just me being an old curmudgeon. But yeah, Elamon, Gila. Well, I know you don't pronounce the G. Elamon, I think, is how you pronounce it. But I,
I thought it was Gila, like Gilamon, like
kind
Gila
of,
Monster. I
yeah,
don't
it's
know.
yeah, it is. Yes, it is based on that. Oh, Scott said thanks for the shout out. So
Oh, hey, there he is.
Scott is watching.
Awesome. I love me some Scott. I do. I wish I could
Oh,
spend more time with him, but just so
Bart's
damn
asking
busy.
for a link to you. Um,
Mm,
you can
I don't know
Bart,
how to do that.
you can find him on eBay as Xtreme Toys, but he also has a Facebook group called Xtreme Toys. I don't know if I. Oh,
And he spelled it right, so he's on a good
yes,
start.
yes, Bart. Yes, search by that name on Facebook, and you'll find his group. Uh,
Everyone's welcome.
yeah, yeah. It's a low key group, kind of like my Facebook group for the Origin Factory. It's not super active, but it's low key. And but anyways, back to the Gilamon, whatever. Um, I kind of like the tech they put into it with the ability to shut down one wheel because I think you can really get it to turn on a dime. What I am disappointed with is it came out in eighth scale, and I don't know why they came out in eighth scale. I think Axial would have done
That was the turn off for me for the SCX6.
SCX6. Yeah, well, and that's another thing. Now,
SCX.
yeah, now they make another scale that's. I mean, the six scale was obscure, and they kind of created their own market with it. And then they come out with the A scale and they talk about how much more capable it is. It's like, yeah, it's more capable. It's just bigger. Yeah.
I haven't I haven't owned an SCX6. I don't know if you've run one. Everybody that I have come into contact that's had them said they're cool, but the minute you take them out and crawl, they go over everything, so it's not even any fun. It's like there's no challenge to it. It
That
just
was kind of my
conquers.
understanding too. It's like you got to find a new area to drive it because if you drive it where you drive your 10th scale, it's going to be boring, you know. But
I do like the tech. Do you think they can take that same technology and that same idea and make it smaller and still be reliable? Do you think that's maybe why they went the
oh, for
eight
the
scale route?
Elamon, yeah, I don't know why they went to 8th scale. I don't, yeah, I don't. If they were just trying to make it so it was more capable and not hoping people wouldn't connect it. It's just because it's a larger scale. You know, oh, it's more capable. Yeah, it's bigger. Of course, it's more capable. Um, yeah, I don't know what the rationale behind that. I always wonder about the research when they're coming out with new product and what's the drive behind it because it's like, did you talk to anybody first? Kind of like the 6x6 RC10 Team Associated blah 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 semi truck. It's like, who did you talk to that said they wanted that? You know, it's who asked for that? Because I want to punch him in the ribs, or is it just some grand? It just, I don't know. I just wonder what they're thinking, The RC10 6x6 semi truck thing, it's like, I don't know how long that's going to last. I bet you they'll be half
I don't
price
either.
I bet you they'll be half price within a year, you know, maybe even less. I think they'll be kind of like the four-wheel drives, the Yokomos, that didn't do as well as they thought. And they started blowing those out. And then people were getting upset because they paid full price for them. And that's where I don't really have a lot of love for Team Associated right now. You can tell they're just whoring, money grabbing. But yeah, back to the Elamon. I don't know. I probably won't get one just because it's a different scale. It's just, I don't know. Bart, it needs a racing
Well,
series. Yeah, everything. Yeah, everything. Yeah, if you create a spec class around anything, you can get people to buy them.
yeah, you can pump it up.
And that was something
I
in the.
I just
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I believe that they went 8 scale just because it makes the parts for that technology a little bigger, a little bulk, a little stronger, a little beefier. So I wonder if that wasn't like a test bed. Okay, is this going to work? And
Sure,
it's safer to build it bigger. And then, okay, it's working. We're not having any problems. Now let's reduce it and see what it does. I mean, look at the Capra. They released the Capra, and then they released the 18th scale Capra. I kind of wonder if it isn't along the same lines. Go big first and then reduce it. I mean, that's Traxxas's
sure,
profile. They X Max and then the Max and then the Mini Max. I mean, they typically go big first. I think that's their
sure,
way of testing it.
sure. Yeah, I
So,
don't know. I mean, you see stuff come and go fast sometimes, and you wonder what happened to it, and sometimes you forget about it, and you don't even think about it again. So, I'm curious how many of these products have staying power. I mean, in the like back to the Team Associated, the 6x6, it's like, in their marketing, they mentioned that they talked about the semi truck racer guys, and I'm like thinking in the back of
hmm
my head, what are you referring to? And what they're referring to is the Tamiya TTO2 spec class that a lot of clubs are racing now with the semi truck bodies. And I'm like, well, this doesn't fit in that class because that's a spec class. So that doesn't really fit into a class. I mean, if you build a class around it, yeah, but I don't know. It just,
we have a parking lot series here, and they have a truck class, and it has to be the semi truck. It's TTO1 or whatever, but you
I think
can't
they're
use anything
right.
other than bearings. And
Yep.
then they have a sedan class, same way.
Same chassis,
But
TTO2 also, or
yeah, TTO1, TTO2, whatever the spec
right.
chassis is. And again, no upgrades, not even
Mm-hmm.
durability upgrades, nothing. So,
That
which I
that
like, I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, that tends to be the most fun racing that I've ever been involved with. I'm not a huge racer, but I always enjoyed spec classes because it kind of keeps people from outspending each other.
hmm
But at the
It's not
same
just about your pocketbook.
right, but at the same time, whenever there's racing, there's cheating, so you can't get away from it either.
Yeah. I, you and I had talked about this 6x6 thing, this associated the other day, and I wonder if this isn't kind of a nod back to that conversion kit that you used to be able to buy for pan cars, where you got the semi truck body and an extra pod with a dummy axle, and you
Well,
could turn your
okay, but if they're trying to cash in on like the Riri stuff,
WR8. What was that? Go back. Wait, whoa, whoa,
no,
whoa,
no,
whoa.
no, no. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. That's
Squirrel.
probably one of the last ones we'll talk about. But anyways, um, I see people screaming for the original pan cars that they used to build because weren't they like eighth
Yeah.
scale or something like that? The nitro ones,
No,
they were
there
big,
was, yeah, there was an 8 scale, like the vintage
weren't
Team
they?
Associated
Weren't they?
Serpent.
Well, they had the 250, the 350, and the 500.
Okay, those are, yeah, that's the RC 500 was an 8 scale,
Right.
and I think they had it
Those were
early 2 wheel
nitro.
drive and then later 4 wheel drive
Right.
nitro with a 21 motor. Yeah, they were riot.
Right. And there's something
So,
people have been asking for. Well, and then plus they had the RC12, the pan car, and that was a proven car. Those pan cars were really good. I mean, a lot of people raced those back in the day because there wasn't a lot of production pan cars, and they were one of the early ones. So people went with Team Associated. I remember guys at our
yeah.
club were all racing RC12s. But think of how easy and inexpensive it is to build a pan car, and Kyosho's pumping out the Phantoms. It's like, why isn't
Hell,
Team Associated trying to
X-Ray
cash in
does.
on it? Huh?
Yeah, X-Ray, they just released X-Ray and I think Corrali and who else? There's a quite a few that are still there's a company called CRC. They make what they call the carpet knife. It's a
Right.
12 scale chassis.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I mean 12. I'll tell you this: 12 scale used to be cheap. Pan cars used to be cheap to
Yeah. Yeah.
race. 12 scale is expensive now because they only run 1S, and you have to run this special ESC, and it's a 17. I think it's a 17.5 motor, and this 1S ESC because higher amp load. But I mean, they've gotten to be expensive little cars to build, but they are a riot to drive because they're like stuck to the
I
ground.
remember I didn't have enough talent to drive with the RC12
Mm-mm.
guys because, oh my God, these guys
Nope.
were robots. And I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
cannot drive that consistently that fast. My brain doesn't process quick enough to run with those guys. So I ran a sedan class. I was running Schumacher wheel drives. Um, what are they called? SSTs? Is that what that was called? The Schumacher SST or something like that. But it was their touring
That was
sedan.
their truck. Yeah, I think the SST was their truck. I
Oh, I don't
thought
remember.
they had one. Hmm.
But
I
yeah.
ran sedan. I built a 12 scale carpet car. We had a carpet track at a little
Mm-hmm.
place called Banana Hobby here in Richardson,
Yep.
and I built a 12 scale, and I went up there to watch some of the guys practice, and they would take a bottle cap, like off the soda, just the lid,
Yep.
and they would put it down in the corner, and the object was to slowly touch it and move it in on the corner. That way, you're moving your line in on the corner.
Yeah.
Not happening. Rob would hit it and then slam the wall. So I gave up quick. I don't have. I can't. I just can't be that. I'm not that robotic at it. I
Yeah.
can't. I'm not that precise. So
Yeah, it's like a machine type operation. You just have to keep repeating yourself over and over and over and over and over. Yeah.
and you can't let a mistake screw you up for the next 10 laps. And that was the other problem is I wasn't good at washing off the
Right.
mistakes. I was constantly, oh crap, I screwed up. I gotta work harder, instead of just going back, calming down, and going at it. So
Mm-hmm.
I gave
Um,
up.
so we're coming up on an hour, so I'm gonna bring up the one that you saw
Uh
that I
oh.
did. So HPI is bringing back the WR8 again. It's a it's their all-wheel drive rally car, which I have the version before this. Rob, this is one of the most fun bashing street cars I've owned. And I still have my WR8, the Subaru one, the one before this.
Okay, I have a
Um,
question.
yes, go ahead.
I've never I've never had the HP. I've had the Ken Block one that I never opened the box. But is it more like a 10 scale size or more like a
It
slash size, like the
it's eighth
Traxxas
scale.
Rally?
It's eighth scale. It's
Oh
bigger.
wow. Okay, so it's big. Okay,
That
that's cool. I love
and
rallies.
this, yeah. And this version, they're claiming to get 60 miles an hour of it, which I think the previous version was 50. And this is on 3S. And what I love about rally cars, I love the extra ground clearance. They're great for driving on the streets, that kind of stuff, you know. Our streets aren't
Hmm.
perfect around here and they aren't always clean. So I don't like 10th scale road cars on the asphalt because garbage gets caught underneath them, you know, and it hangs them up and they
Yeah,
just don't have very good ground clearance. So what I really love about this platform, it's fun to drive out in the street in front of your house, that kind of stuff in a parking lot, something you could bring with you anywhere and drive it as long as it's on asphalt or something close to asphalt as far as the conditions and the flatness. You know, it's not an off-road vehicle by any means, but to go fast on a flat surface, it's a lot of fun. You know, and it's
I
rally car.
I I I
It's meant to
built a
drift it's meant to drift a little bit and all that kind of stuff. It's not meant to go in a straight line. It's something you can drive, you know.
yeah. I took a Traxxas Ultimate Slash, brand new, and a brand new Rally, and took them apart, and then I transferred everything from the Slash over to the Rally. So I built a Ultimate Rally. And
Sure.
on 3S, that thing's a riot. It's just an absolute riot. I love it. It's so
And
much fun.
The one negative I have about this WR8 is it's A scale, so there's not many bodies for it. And they only releasing it with one body choice. So it's like if you had a few friends that were interested with it also, it's like we're all going to drive the same body. Eventually you're going to be confused which one's yours. Um I'm looking at their other page and it sounds like the Subaru body might still be available. So you could so I think you can still you'd have to buy it separately. But you think about a lot of brands, even like we were talking about the Losi LMT earlier, they're running two bodies. They got Digger and Son of a Digger. And I've seen that a lot of times with Raider runs. They usually offer two liveries. And so that's the one thing I kind of fault HBI on this release. It's like I think when you're doing Raider runs, you should always
Well,
have a
they're
couple
showing the
liveries.
WR. Well, they're showing the Subaru WRX. Is that the
This is for
2001? And then
this
I
is
see
for
the
this page. All it says is for body shells. It's not showing it as a kit.
oh, okay.
So you can still buy the body
The
shell.
lag between
Yep,
our
yep,
talk and the
yep,
thing is, throwing me
yep.
off. Sorry.
They do show they do show the Escort body available and unpainted, so you could do a different paint job on it. But they do have a light kit for it too. But I think the price on this is $5.99. But I thought I saw somebody like A Main maybe had like a pre-order price that was significantly lower, like maybe $4.99 or something like that, because they
Wow.
haven't come in
That's
yet.
that's a
I,
bargain. I mean, if you really, that's a good deal. I mean,
yeah, I
hmm,
this yeah
interesting.
this car has given me a lot of smiles. I'm tempted to buy another one.
Well, the Ken Block stuff, it was so I really think it got kind of overlooked. It was really cool when they were releasing a lot of the Ken Block Hoonigan stuff through HBI. They really HBI nails it. I mean, God, even if you go back as far as the RS4s, God, they killed it. I mean, the bodies were just awesome back
Well,
then.
and then when HPI made its comeback, that was one of those companies we were worried about. How are they going to do it? How are they going to do it? Are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? And it's like Team Associates, the one we're all questioning what the hell's going on. HPI is still kind of doing their same thing again, is this what it feels like. But Team Associate, I don't know what they're doing. I think they're
Well,
whatever.
I'll be honest. I miss the days of HBI when they had all the different choices and bodies because they were always
Yes.
next
Yes.
to Tamiya. They were the nicest bodies. The sedans, you could make some cool sedans with those bodies.
Right. And Kyosho's doing that now with was it called the Phaser series or whatever, the Phaser chassis? They're doing the muscle car bodies and stuff like that. And because that's a
And
place that,
Kyosho brings out really high quality Lexan bodies too. They really do.
yes.
They're expensive, but they're good. They got a lot of good detail to
Uh huh. Yeah, definitely.
them. That's been my gripe with Traxxas is I wish Traxxas would spend a little more time and sharpen up their bodies a little bit. I feel like they're too generic. You know, I wish they would resemble something a little more detail.
Yeah, that's what always kind of. I mean, Traxxas definitely has come a long way, but with their external appearance and stuff like that, it feels more toy-like to me because they don't do much modeling as far as trying to make stuff like a little more prototypical type stuff. It looks a little more toy-like. I mean, definitely the
Hmm.
quality's better than toys, of course. I'm not taking that away from them, but it'd be nice if maybe they're just trying to avoid some of the licensing stuff and just make more product and because it's definitely more of an
Yeah.
entry level, it seems like.
Well, I mean, I live down the street from Traxxas, and so I'm over there quite a bit. And it like you said, it is very much when you walk in, it's you look around at all their stuff, and it's cool. It's really cool, but it's just like I wish they did something a little more. And I thought with the TRX4s, I really thought that was we were going to start seeing more, you know, more
Uh-huh.
realistic, detailed stuff.
Well, let's talk about Traxxas for a second.
Uh oh.
Yeah, let's talk about the sand reel.
Ugh, I'm gonna get in trouble.
Rob has a relationship with Traxxas. Not a business relationship, but another relationship that we're not going to go any deeper than that. But anyways, let's get a picture of this guy up somewhere. Uh so tell everybody what it's based on, the chassis, because you're more familiar with this product than I am.
So it's a two-wheel drive chassis. I believe I haven't actually physically put my hands directly on one, so I don't want to be a website, reviewer. But it looks like it's got a lot of XRT drivetrain on a two-wheel drive chassis. It's a neat buggy. I don't want to call it. It's not really. I wouldn't call it groundbreaking, um, because if you go look, there were guys taking Baja HPI Baja 5Bs 10, 15 years ago doing sand rail conversions on them. I get it. Um, I had a guy make me a chassis that resembled a real sand car, and I had the graphic company doing my wrap, print out wrap for that car. So it was an exact replica of my big car, just a little one. So it's very, very similar. I like that they went with the Funko. The Funkos are pretty cool. I wish they had pursued something more like Buckshot or Tatum. Some of the higher, some of the I don't want to call them higher end, but they're just I don't know. The Funkos are cool and they're super popular. Everybody knows them because I see them videos on YouTube and
Right, right. Yeah,
Dubai.
right. And that ends up being sometimes what they model stuff after is what's the most popular to the public type thing, you know.
Hmm. Yeah,
But yeah, the
I
sticker on
do.
the sticker on this guy is $1,300. It's
I thought it was
oofta.
more. I thought it was 13.99 or 13.49 or.
This is even on Traxxas's website is 12.99. So
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah,
I do like the detail. I mean, honestly, I love how when you first, like, if you look at some of the videos that you've seen of it, where they use the real car and then they have the RC car, the detail is good. I mean, it really is. It's got a great look to it. I really think they nailed it on some of that stuff. I just don't know. A lot of people, a lot of reviewers, a lot of people that have got one, they're saying this. I keep hearing the same words of one trick pony, and I don't know. I mean, it does seem kind of
that's
limited.
yeah. I mean, especially with it being two-wheel drive, you know it's going to push like crazy because the back end's going to hook and front end's going to come off the ground a lot. And yeah, it
I, I wish, and I had talked to you about this. I wish instead of front brakes, I wish they had done steer brakes like the
right,
real sand cars.
right,
Driving a real sand car, you spend as much time yanking on your steer brake handle as you do shifting gears. And 90% of the weight of a real sand car is riding around on the butt end when you're in the dunes because you want your front end to not to be digging in. And so you're using that shift that steer brake handle to move you where you need to go. I wish they had kind of there's ways they can do it. I've seen it in the fifth scale stuff. So
right.
that's my big thing.
Well, my thing for it is just it's such a high entry price for something I don't have a connection to. That's the biggest deterrent for me. You know, I mean,
And not
you've actually spent time on them, real ones. You know, so you have a much closer
hmm
connection to this style of vehicle. So it's like for somebody like me, it's like I just don't I can't connect with it. So it doesn't really drive anything with me. And I mean, it looked like something you could actually turn into like a mud drag. You know, put paddle. You know, it does have paddle tires. It probably like I said, it probably goes in a straight line really fast. But
I'm
uh,
wondering if you don't see there is a group of people that are doing the dirt drags, and I'm wondering if
yes,
this isn't going to be something that falls into that class. I can tell you that I know I spent 14 ish years going to Little Sahara State Park in Oklahoma. And as the years went on, the park rangers got a little, I won't say they told you don't take your RC cars out there, but they got a little less okay with it because it's just so busy. It becomes,
Right,
you
right.
standing somewhere running one, so I wonder how many people in this world are really going to use it in the sand that don't live in California or
Right.
next to
Right. Just like their other
a
one. What
sand
was
dune.
their other vehicle? They made the dirt one, the oval racer, the modified super,
Mud Boss?
yes. It's like there's another thing. I mean, that's very limited. That's a very niche market. And it's like I'm surprised stuff like that comes into production because it's like that'd be perfect for a spec class racer somewhere in the world where they do a lot of oval racing, you know? But I don't it's there's so much in this hobby that keeps spreading you in a wider direction. You can't afford to keep up with it most of the time. But it's like,
Well, the Mud Boss thing, there was companies making kits
yes.
to convert your
Yeah.
slash into a Mud Boss, and they actually built classes, and it got
Yep.
really popular. I know there were three tracks. The three tracks that were close to me, and I say close, they were within an hour or so. They all ran a Mud Boss class, and then when the Mud Boss came out, they were like, okay, now what do we do? Because that doesn't really match what we were doing, but yet we want to, guys want to run them. It's super cool, but again, I don't know. I know it's popular. I know that I saw the buzz when they came out. I was like, holy
Right.
crap, that
Right. Well, another thing that we've talked about too is that um there's not a lot of people in the hobby that can afford to have multiple, to have a little bit of everything. So a lot of people are focused more on one brand, one division of RC than other, than like, what you and I are both currently involved more with crawlers right now. Um, Rob disappeared.
I'm
And
still here. I'm sorry. I've got to answer a text.
no, you don't.
I know. Well, he's yes, I do. This one I don't have a choice.
anyways,
Sorry. Okay, I'm
anyways,
back. Sorry.
uh so what I was getting at was about that. There's not a lot of people in this hobby that can afford to have, 5 or 6 different styles of RC. And they keep coming out with going in another direction, another direction, another direction. So I feel like in a way they're kind of sealing their fate by just giving too many options. Losi just came out with the sprint car, which I'm excited about, but I don't have a place to
It's
run the
cool
dang
looking.
thing. It looks badass. I mean, up at the farm, we've got clay. I could make a clay oval, and I'd be love to have a spec racing up there and host it. But am I going to get 10 people that want to do it? Probably not. And my farm isn't close enough to the metro. It's 45
Yeah.
minutes. I mean, it's half hour from my place, but it's like 45 to an hour from the center of the city. So it's like, yeah, I would love to host races and do stuff like that and make a track because I think it'd be really cool. But the fizzle factor is big when you don't have a lot of people involved. And if you only have like 6 people involved and only 4 are super committed, and then it just drops off. But if you get a couple dozen, then it's like, well, then there's always enough people to race with. So places like where I live, I mean, Texas, you got a much larger population than we do. Our population of our state, I think, is like a little over 6 million for the whole state. And, Minneapolis, the metro is like 3 million. So it's not a very
Mhm.
big city compared to like where you're at, where you just have lots of people. So you have a better, just the rules of averages fall in there and then you got better weather too, where you're going to have more people involved with this hobby than up here. So
Well,
for
I can
areas
tell
like,
you here though, I can tell you here that if it isn't close and convenient,
yeah,
we've had
well, that's just
tracks
it.
that died because
Right.
they just weren't in
Right.
a
And that's just it
close
because of
area.
your population. The travel times are crazy. You know, you're
Yep.
starting to have California issues where it's like, oh my God, it's 3 o'clock. I ain't gonna cross the city this time of the day. I'll wait till the evening or whatever. You know, that kind of stuff where you just avoid traveling because it's rush hour and because you're a rush hour where you got tens of millions of people instead of 3 or 4 million. You know, and the roads just can't support it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's they keep pumping product out and just it's almost like they're throwing darts at the dartboard, just hoping something grabs. It feels like, you know, like not a lot of forethought. It's like, oh, let's put this out, see what happens. You know, so maybe they're getting the stuff cheap enough, or they're just willing to roll the dice on it. I don't know, but it just some of the stuff I don't wonder if they put much research into it, or if it's just a more of a whim. I don't know.
Well, I want one of the sprint cars just because I like sprint cars, but I don't. I doubt I'd ever really
Well, and
run
that's
it,
just it.
and
If
I
we weren't,
damn sure wouldn't run it like it was meant to be.
and that's just it. We're so far apart. I would buy stuff just for you and I, just to toy with it and try it out. But the
Goof
logistics
off,
aren't
yeah,
there. Yeah, we're just
yeah.
fucking 12 hours away from each other or whatever it is. But
I think it's more than that, but yeah.
it's just
Isn't that
just get on
crazy?
just get on 35 and drive, man.
Yeah, just drive.
We're
Isn't that crazy? I don't know if the people watching or if whoever sees this or whatever, me and you have never physically met in person, but
let's keep it that way.
I'll show people my I'll show people my phone log of I mean it's very few days that we don't chat, even if it's text or
Right.
whatever. It's yeah, the day and age that we live in is kind of crazy,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah. It's easy to have relationships around the world, and by relationship I mean friendships. But yeah,
yeah.
it's that's the world we live in.
Yeah, it used
Um,
to be you would say, I had a friend in Michigan, and that's because you used to live near somebody that
yeah,
moved to Michigan
yeah,
for
yeah.
work, or
And now
whatever. And
you
now
call them,
it's,
and now you call them 3 times a year, you know. But now you can text
yeah,
with people on a regular basis, and yeah, like my son was in Europe for his when he graduated from school. He took a little spring or a little vacation, and yeah, I could talk to him every day while he's in France and Germany, and he's sending me pictures and videos as you know throughout his day, and it's like, yes, but yeah, the digital age. Um,
crazy.
yeah, let's wrap this
It's
up
changed
because
RC a lot.
yeah. Um, so yeah. Anyways, we're gonna wrap this up now. This is Rob from Xtreme Toyz. He's in Texas. I'm John, the Origin Factory up in Minnesota. And if you like this kind of content, please leave a comment or a like or subscribe. Rob is available under Xtreme Toyz on Facebook, eBay. Where else?
I have a TikTok, I have YouTube, I have eBay and Facebook. Yeah. So, and my Facebook, a lot of guys know me as Rob on Facebook. I've moved most of that over to Xtreme Toys Racing. My family was getting kind of
As a profile. Yeah, yeah.
bombarded.
Right. As
Yeah.
a you have a
So
profile under your business name. Right. So,
yeah. So
anyways,
I've been doing eBay for 20 plus years as Xtreme Toys. So I just made it a profile also.
sure. Rob's a good person to know if you're looking for stuff for non-current, especially RC stuff. He buys and sells a lot of that stuff, parts it out, that kind of good stuff. Um, and of course, I am on Facebook as the Origin Factory in a group, and then the Origin Factory, of course, on YouTube. And this is our first live stream, and we're gonna try to do this like once a week, mostly with Rob, preferably, unless I find somebody more charming or handsome. But
I don't blame you. No, no hate. Maybe I can be the behind the scenes producer.
or maybe if you get a boob job or something and go topless, I don't know. But anyway,
Hey, I guess
I do too, but nobody wants to see them.
no, nobody wants to see mine either.
Okay, buddy, let's
Oh,
sign
geez.
off and we'll talk to you soon. So have a good day, everybody, and God bless. Any final words, Rob? Peace. We're
None.
out of here. God bless.
Bye. See ya.